There was a man who worked harder than anyone in his office. He arrived before sunrise. He stayed long after the lights dimmed. He read every book on success he could find, attended every seminar, followed every piece of advice his mentors ever gave him. And yet, year after year, his income remained exactly the same, as if an invisible ceiling had been nailed just above his head. That man was Bob Proctor. Before he became one of the most recognized teachers of human potential in the world, before the books, the stages, and the millions of lives changed, Bob Proctor was a young man drowning in debt, trapped in a job he hated, with a grade 9 education and absolutely no idea why his life refused to move forward. Then one day, a mentor handed him a book. A single book. And what he read inside it shook him so profoundly that within a year, his income went from $6,000 to over $175,000. Not because he worked harder. Not because he got luckier. But because he discovered something the school system never taught him, something most people go their entire lives never understanding, that the amount of money you earn is not determined by the economy, your education, or even your effort. It is determined entirely by the programming running silently inside your mind. What you are about to hear is not motivation. It is not a pep talk. It is a precise, proven map of the mental architecture that controls your financial results, and more importantly, how to rebuild it from the inside out. Bob Proctor spent over 6 decades studying, teaching, and living these principles. And today, you're going to learn them. Pay close attention. What you do with this information could change everything. Welcome to the teachings of Bob Proctor. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they try, you are asking the right question. And the answer, as Bob Proctor spent his entire career explaining, has almost nothing to do with circumstances, and everything to do with the mind. Bob Proctor believed, with total conviction, that every human being is born with a seed of unlimited potential. Not just some people. Not just the gifted or the privileged or the lucky. Every single person. The difference between those who live that potential and those who don't isn't intelligence or opportunity. It's programming. It's the invisible set of beliefs, habits, and mental patterns that were installed in your subconscious mind long before you were old enough to question them. Here is what most people don't realize. Your conscious mind, the part of you that thinks, reasons, and makes decisions, is not the part of you that determines your income. Your subconscious mind is. And your subconscious doesn't respond to desire or logic or wishful thinking. It responds only to repetition, emotion, and image. If the image you hold of yourself is someone who earns $40,000 a year, no amount of hustle will permanently push you past that number. You will unconsciously self-sabotage, turn down opportunities, make poor decisions, all to stay in alignment with the identity you hold inside. This is what Bob Proctor called the paradigm. And in this video, we are going to dismantle it. Over the course of 7 powerful chapters, you will discover how your money blueprint was formed, why it keeps recreating the same financial results no matter what you do on the outside, and exactly what steps you need to take to reprogram your mind for a higher level of income and abundance. You will learn the laws that govern prosperity, the role your self-image plays in your earning power, and the daily mental practices that Bob Proctor used and taught to hundreds of thousands of students worldwide to break through financial limitations that once seemed permanent. This is not theory. This is a science, the science of the mind applied to money. Let's begin. Bob Proctor often said that the greatest secret in the world is not how to make money, it is how the mind works. Without understanding the mind, every strategy, every tactic, every financial plan will eventually collapse back to the same familiar result. Inside every human being, there are 2 distinct levels of mental activity: the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is where you think, analyze, plan, and dream. The subconscious mind is where you live. It is the operating system running beneath everything you say, do, feel, and attract. Bob Proctor called the collection of beliefs, habits, and programs embedded in the subconscious mind the paradigm. He described it as a multitude of habits that have been passed down, inherited, and absorbed, most of them before the age of 7, without your conscious permission. The paradigm is not an enemy. It was designed to protect you by automating behavior so your brain didn't have to consciously evaluate every decision. But the problem arises when the programs installed in childhood are rooted in limitation, fear, or lack, because those programs keep running long into adulthood, quietly controlling your financial results. Think of your income like a thermostat. When a room gets too cold, the thermostat kicks on and brings the temperature back up. When it gets too warm, it cools things down. Your subconscious mind works exactly the same way. It is always working to bring your financial reality back in line with your internal set point, no matter what the outside world presents. This is why lottery winners so often lose their winnings within a few years. It is why people who receive sudden inheritances frequently return to their previous financial level. Their outside circumstances changed, but their paradigm, their internal thermostat, hadn't moved an inch. Bob Proctor's mentor, Earl Nightingale, introduced him to the idea that we become what we think about. But Proctor took that principle even deeper, teaching that we don't just attract what we think consciously, we attract what we believe subconsciously, which is often something entirely different. The first step to earning more money is not to work more hours or find a better opportunity. It is to become aware of the paradigm running your life. To look honestly at your financial results and recognize that they are not accidents. They are the predictable output of your current programming. Awareness, Bob always said, is the beginning of all change. You cannot fix what you cannot see. And once you see the paradigm clearly, once you understand that the ceiling on your income was put there by thoughts that were never truly yours, a powerful shift begins to take place, and in the chapters ahead, you will learn exactly how that shift is made. But everything starts here, with the recognition that your mind has been programmed and that it can be reprogrammed. That single realization is worth more than any financial tip you will ever receive. Every person walking the earth has what Bob Proctor called a money blueprint, a deeply embedded emotional and psychological template that determines how much money they are comfortable earning, keeping, and allowing into their life. This blueprint was not built intentionally. It was assembled through years of observation, repetition, and emotional conditioning, primarily in childhood, when the subconscious mind was wide open and absorbing everything around it like a sponge. What did you hear about money growing up? Did the adults around you say things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees"? "We can't afford that." "Rich people are greedy." "Money is the root of all evil." Each of those statements, repeated enough times with enough emotion, became a brick in the wall of your financial blueprint. Bob Proctor was relentless in teaching that the words we hear and accept in early life become the scripts we silently recite as adults. The child who is told, "We're not the kind of people who have a lot of money," grows into an adult who unconsciously acts out that identity, avoiding opportunities, undercharging, overspending, until the script is rewritten. The blueprint also carries emotional associations. For many people, money is unconsciously connected to conflict, stress, or moral compromise. When that is the case, the subconscious mind will quietly resist accumulating wealth because on some deep level, money feels dangerous or wrong. Understanding your blueprint requires courageous honesty. Look at your financial history. Look at the patterns. Have you consistently stayed within a certain income range no matter what jobs you've held? Have you had money and lost it, repeatedly returning to the same level? That is your blueprint speaking loudly. Bob Proctor taught that the blueprint is not a life sentence, it is simply a program. And just as software can be updated, the money blueprint can be rewritten. But only if you are willing to do the inner work that most people never attempt. The process of rewriting the blueprint begins with identification. You must surface the specific beliefs and statements that form your current financial identity. Write them down. Look at them. Ask yourself, are these beliefs true? Are they mine? Did I consciously choose them? In almost every case, the answer will be no. Once you identify the old program, you replace it, not by arguing with it, but by consistently introducing a new idea with enough emotion and repetition that the subconscious accepts it as true. This is the fundamental mechanism behind all lasting financial transformation. Your money blueprint was given to you before you were old enough to evaluate it. That means you had no choice then. But you have a choice now. And that choice begins with a decision, a firm, burning, non-negotiable decision, that you are no longer willing to let an inherited story determine the size of your life. Bob Proctor built much of his teaching on a single foundational truth. Everything in the universe is energy, and all energy vibrates at a specific frequency. This is not metaphor. It is physics. And it has profound implications for how money moves in and out of your life. The law of vibration, as Proctor taught it, states that like frequencies attract like frequencies. Your thoughts and feelings generate a vibration, a specific energetic signal that your body broadcasts into the field around you, and the universe responds by bringing into your experience whatever matches that signal. This is why positive thinking alone never works. If you consciously think, "I am wealthy," but your subconscious is vibrating with the frequency of fear and scarcity, the deeper signal wins. Every time. The subconscious is infinitely more powerful than the conscious mind in determining what you attract. Proctor would often use the analogy of a radio. If you want to hear a specific station, you must tune your dial to that frequency. You don't get the station by wanting it or by trying harder. You get it by matching it. The same is true of money, opportunity, and abundance. Your current financial situation is a perfect vibrational match to your current dominant thoughts and feelings about money. This is not a judgment, it is a law. And laws don't play favorites. They work the same way for everyone, every time. Raising your vibration around money does not mean faking happiness or pretending financial problems don't exist. It means consciously choosing to dwell more consistently in thoughts and feelings of expansion, possibility, and gratitude, until those feelings become your natural default state. Bob Proctor taught his students to use what he called the gratitude frequency as one of the most powerful tools for shifting their financial vibration. Gratitude is incompatible with lack. When you feel genuine appreciation for what you already have, you cannot simultaneously feel fear about what you don't. Visualization is another critical tool for shifting vibration. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine living at a higher income level, feeling it, smelling it, experiencing it as already real, your brain releases the same neurochemicals it would if the experience were actually happening. Over time, this builds a new internal frequency. The people Bob Proctor admired most, the great earners, the builders of extraordinary wealth, were not simply smarter or more talented. They were people who had learned, consciously or intuitively, to hold a consistent vibration of abundance regardless of their current circumstances. You can do the same. It starts with becoming a careful observer of your own thoughts and emotions around money. Every time you notice a thought of limitation or fear, you have a choice: feed it or replace it. That micro-decision, made consistently over time, is what changes the frequency, and ultimately the results. Of all the concepts Bob Proctor taught, none was more central or more misunderstood than self-image. Your self-image is the mental and emotional picture you hold of yourself, who you are, what you deserve, and what you are capable of. And it governs your financial results with absolute precision. Bob was deeply influenced by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, the author of Psycho-Cybernetics, who discovered that the nervous system cannot distinguish between a real experience and one vividly imagined. Proctor took this idea and applied it directly to income. If you can vividly and consistently imagine yourself as someone who earns a specific level of income, your nervous system will begin to act accordingly. Your self-image is your financial identity. It is the answer to the unconscious question your mind asks in every financial situation: is this the kind of money someone like me earns? When an opportunity arises that exceeds your self-image, something inside you will reject it, not logically, but emotionally. You'll find reasons it won't work. You'll talk yourself out of it. You'll self-sabotage. This is not weakness. It is the psychological immune system doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect the integrity of the self-image. The problem is that the self-image it's protecting may be built on lies absorbed in childhood, not on truth. Bob Proctor taught that upgrading your self-image is the single most leveraged investment you can make. When your self-image expands, your behavior automatically shifts, without force, without discipline, without willpower. You begin to move naturally toward the financial level that matches your new identity. How do you build a bigger self-image? Start by writing a clear, present-tense description of the person you intend to become financially. Not the person you are today, the person you are in the process of becoming. Read it daily. Feel it. Speak it as though it is already true. Affirmations, when used correctly, with emotion, repetition, and genuine belief, are among the most effective tools for reshaping self-image. The key word is emotion. A flat, mechanical recitation of words does nothing. An emotionally charged, deeply felt declaration sends a new signal directly to the subconscious. Bob also emphasized the power of environment. The people you spend the most time with shape your self-image more than almost any other factor. If your circle consistently operates at a certain financial level, your subconscious will calibrate to match it. Deliberately seek relationships with people who are already living at the level you aspire to. Celebrate evidence of your expanding self-image. When you make a bold financial decision, when you charge what you're truly worth, when you say yes to an opportunity that once would have terrified you, acknowledge it. These moments are proof that your identity is shifting. Bob Proctor often said, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. This is the essence of self-image work. The future version of you, the The financially free, abundant, thriving version already exists as a possibility. Your job is to make that image so vivid, so emotionally real, that your subconscious can no longer tell the difference between the image and the truth. Bob Proctor had a very specific philosophy about goals, one that ran entirely counter to conventional advice. He didn't want you to set goals you already knew how to achieve. He wanted you to set goals that terrified you. Goals that had absolutely no logical path from where you stand today. He called these C-type goals. Most people set what he called goals already within reach, goals that barely require growth. Others set B goals they think they can achieve if they work hard enough. But C goals are goals that seem impossible. Goals so far beyond your current reality that your only response when you write them down is, "I have no idea how." That "I have no idea how" feeling is not a warning sign. It is the signal that the goal is real enough to create genuine transformation. If you can already see the path, the goal is not stretching you. And a goal that doesn't stretch you doesn't change your paradigm. When you set a financial goal that truly exceeds your current paradigm, something remarkable begins to happen in your brain. The gap between where you are and where you want to be creates a cognitive tension, a dissonance that the mind naturally wants to resolve. And to resolve it, your perception begins to shift. Opportunities that were always around you, invisible before, begin to come into focus. Ideas arrive in the morning quiet, in the shower, at unexpected moments. Your reticular activating system, the brain's filtering mechanism, begins searching for evidence and pathways that match your declared intention. Bob Proctor taught his students to write their financial goal in a very specific format. "I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities, from multiple sources, on a continuous basis." The present tense is deliberate. The emotion is deliberate. The subconscious does not understand future tense, it only knows now. Write your goal down every morning and every evening. Not because the writing is magic, but because the act of writing it, consistently and with focus, impresses it more deeply upon the subconscious with each repetition. Over time, the goal moves from the conscious mind into the paradigm itself. Detach from the how. This is where most people fail. They set a goal and then immediately try to map out every logical step, and when they can't, they abandon the goal as unrealistic. But Bob Proctor was adamant. The how is not your job. Your job is to hold the image. The how will reveal itself through inspired action and unexpected channels. Review your goal with emotion, not desperation. There is a critical distinction between desire and need. Desire vibrates at a frequency of expansion and possibility. Need vibrates at a frequency of lack and fear. Feel your goal as something you are moving toward with excitement, not something you are clutching with anxiety. 1 year from now, 5 years from now, the person who has consistently held a clear, emotionally charged financial goal will be living in a completely different reality than the person who drifted through the same period. The goal is not just a destination, it is a reprogramming device. Use it that way. Bob Proctor was not against hard work. He was against hard work disconnected from the right internal state. There is a profound difference, he taught, between frantic action driven by fear and inspired action driven by alignment with your goal. Most people are busy all day long and still barely move toward their financial dreams. They are in motion, but not in the right direction. Their activity is driven by the paradigm, doing what they've always done, moving through the same patterns, reinforcing the same results. Inspired action, by contrast, is action that arises from a state of clarity, purpose, and inner alignment. It is the idea that wakes you up at 2 in the morning because it won't leave you alone. It is the instinct that says, call that person, or make that offer, or say yes to that thing, even when logic can't fully explain why. Bob Proctor taught that the universe communicates through intuition. When your mind is programmed for a specific goal, and when you have raised your vibration to match that goal's frequency, guidance begins to flow through you in the form of hunches, ideas, and synchronicities. The key is to act on them, immediately and without second-guessing. Most people receive inspired ideas and then negotiate with them. They think about it too long, talk themselves out of it, wait for more certainty. And in that delay, the moment passes. Bob was clear. When you receive inspired guidance, move. Movement is the bridge between the mental image and the physical reality. This does not mean recklessness. It means developing the ability to distinguish between the whisper of genuine inspiration and the chatter of fearful thinking. Inspiration feels expansive, certain, and clear, even if it's also a little terrifying. Fear feels contracting, urgent, and desperate. Learn to tell them apart. Bob also distinguished between activity and productivity. You can fill an entire day with activity that produces nothing of real value: emails, minor tasks, distractions that feel productive but don't advance your goal. True productivity, Proctor insisted, means spending the majority of your focused energy on the one or two things that actually move the financial needle. Every morning, before the world rushes in, ask yourself, what is the most important action I could take today that would bring me closer to my financial goal? Then do that thing first. Not after the emails. Not after the meetings. First. Guard that time as sacred, because it is. Consistency is the compounding force behind inspired action. One bold action taken today, repeated daily for a year, creates a momentum that is virtually unstoppable. The people who seem to have sudden success almost never did. They simply took quiet, committed action long enough that the results finally became visible to the outside world. Bob Proctor lived this. He didn't build a global teaching empire in a weekend. He took one inspired step, then another, always guided by a clear goal and a deeply impressed image. The steps themselves were often modest. The direction never wavered. And the results eventually became extraordinary. Reprogramming your mind for greater income is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a daily, deliberate, ongoing commitment to feeding the new paradigm rather than the old one. Bob Proctor lived this understanding until his final days, and it is what made his results compound over decades. The old paradigm will resist. This is important to understand. When you begin making changes, thinking differently, setting bigger goals, acting more boldly, the old programming will push back. Doubt will whisper. Fear will argue. Old habits will pull you toward familiar territory. This is not a sign that you're failing. It is a sign that you're growing. Bob Proctor taught his students to expect resistance and interpret it correctly. Every time the old paradigm rises up in protest, it means you are moving beyond it. The discomfort of growth is not a red light, it is a green light. It means you are on the right path, pressing against the boundaries of who you used to be. Protect your mental environment fiercely. Your mind is a garden, and you must be a ruthless gatekeeper of what is planted there. Limit exposure to news, conversations, and relationships that reinforce scarcity and limitation. Actively seek input, books, recordings, teachers, mentors, that reinforce abundance and possibility. Bob Proctor listened to recordings of his own goals and affirmations daily. He studied the same core ideas for decades, not because he hadn't learned them, but because the subconscious requires consistent repetition to hold a new program in place. The day you stop feeding the new paradigm is the day the old one begins reclaiming territory. Build financial rituals into your day. Read your goal statement each morning and each night, in the threshold moments between sleep and waking when the conscious mind is relaxed and the subconscious is most receptive. Visualize your financial goal as already achieved for at least 5 minutes, twice daily, with full emotional engagement. Track your growth through a gratitude and evidence journal. Each day, write down 3 pieces of evidence, however small, that your new paradigm is taking hold. A new idea. A financial opportunity. A moment when you caught yourself responding to money differently than you used to. These entries become proof that the transformation is real and gaining momentum. Invest in your mind continuously. Bob Proctor spent extraordinary amounts of money on personal development throughout his life, not as an expense, but as the highest return investment he knew. Books, seminars, coaches, mentors. The ROI on mental reprogramming far exceeds the ROI on any external financial strategy. Share what you are learning. Teaching others, even informally, accelerates your own transformation. When you articulate a principle clearly enough to explain it to someone else, it moves from intellectual understanding into embodied knowing. And embodied knowing is what the subconscious acts upon. Bob Proctor's life was the proof. A man with a 9th grade education and a mountain of debt became one of the most influential teachers of abundance in human history, not by being exceptional, but by understanding and applying these principles with relentless consistency. He always insisted, what he did, you can do. The principles don't discriminate. The mind doesn't limit. Only the paradigm does, and the paradigm can always be changed. Bob Proctor spent over 60 years doing one thing: studying the human mind and teaching ordinary people how to use it in extraordinary ways. He wasn't a guru or a motivational speaker in the traditional sense. He was a student, a lifelong, passionate, disciplined student of a single idea, that the infinite intelligence of the universe is available to every human being who learns to align their mind with it. Everything he taught about money flows from that single truth. You are not limited by your education, your background, your age, or your circumstances. You are only ever limited by the programming running in your subconscious mind, and that programming can be changed. Starting today. Starting now. The path forward is not complicated, but it demands commitment. Identify your paradigm. Examine your money blueprint. Raise your vibration through gratitude and visualization. Build a self-image that matches the financial life you intend to live. Set a goal so bold it forces your mind to expand. Take inspired action every single day. Protect the new program you are building with the same ferocity you would protect anything truly precious. And when the old patterns rise up, and they will, remember, resistance is not failure. It is friction. And friction is proof that you are moving. If this video has shifted something in you, even slightly, then honor that shift by doing something with it. Don't let this be another piece of content you consumed and forgot. Write your goal down tonight. Read it tomorrow morning. Begin. Bob Proctor always said that the most important step is not the second one or the 10th one, it is the first one. The one you take before you feel ready, before you have all the answers, before the fear goes away. Take that step. The life you were born to live is waiting on the other side of your next decision.